From the Coptic Orthodox Church of St.Mary.Sourian Monastery, this is one of the miracles of Fr Falteous el Souriany. Mr. YG, who is an engineer from Alexandria, tells, "At one point in my life, I was facing issues at work. I was recently married and my wife conceived. She was very close to her due date. And seeing that I needed prayers, I decided to go to El Sourian Monastery, and there I met with Fr Falteous. I beseeched him to pray on behalf of my issues at work so that God would resolve them from me. But he said to me, 'Your wife is more important at this point in time.' I was puzzled by his response, and I asked him, 'What do you mean, Father?' To which he responded, 'Your wife is more important. Her soul is more important than your job.' However, I still could not comprehend what he meant, especially because my wife was in perfect health. Nevertheless, he brought out a vial of holy oil and a small bottle of water. He very carefully placed one drop of water into the vial of holy oil, and he gave it to me. I then asked him to pray over the oil and for me as well. I took the vial of holy oil, and I returned home feeling depressed, because Fr Falteous did not pray on behalf of the issues I was having at work. He was more concerned about my wife's well-being, and my wife was fine. When I sat to think, my wife was in the last month of her final trimester, and her health was perfect. She was not suffering from anything. Hence, I was puzzled as to why Fr Falteous was so fixated on her well-being, and he abandoned the issues that disturbed me at work. Nevertheless, what happened later on was extremely strange, because a few days later, my wife's health began to deteriorate, and she was immediately transferred to the hospital. When our attending obstetrician came to examine her, he said to me, 'Your wife is in critical condition, and we need to perform an emergency cesarean section in order to save her life.' The news astounded all of us, and while my wife lay on the hospital bed as the doctors prepared the operating room, she called for me and asked, 'Where is the vial of holy oil that Fr Falteous gave you?' So I pulled the vial out of my pocket and I anointed her with it. Afterwards, the doctors rushed me out so they could begin this emergency surgery. In less than 20 minutes, the doctor emerged from the operating room, and he smiled as he said to me, 'This truly was a miracle. Your wife just gave birth to your son before we could begin to perform the surgery. Congratulations!' Only then did I realize Fr Falteous' words to me when I went to visit him at the monastery. Although I was seeking prayers for my issues at work, he responded by saying, 'Your wife's soul is more important than your job.'